Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be discussing the off-white blazer low in the white and black colorway. Specifically, we will be discussing some release info, how to cop, and of course, some resale predictions at the end of the video. The off-white blazer low is set to release on April 8th. Retail will only be $140 on these, and the total stock between both pairs is under 70,000 pairs. Regarding resale, we will cover that towards the end of the video, as always, but with the release info out of the way, let's jump into how to cop these off-white blazer lows. Kicking it off, they will of course be dropping via Nike sneakers. Specifically, they will be releasing via a Dan release, also known as a draw. You'll essentially have 10 minutes to enter in as many accounts as possible into the Nike sneakers draw. It is luck based, but the more accounts you do have, the higher your chance will be of copying, of course. If you do need to make more accounts, remember that Nike does require SMS verification, so you will have to ask a friend of yours to use their phone number for the verification code, or if you'd rather not bother your friends, you could also feel free to purchase pre-verified accounts from my site TARS. The link is in the description below for this. However, at the moment we are out of stock, unfortunately. We do plan to restock relatively soon though. As for the time, this will be at 10 a.m. Eastern time as usual for sneakers drops. Nothing new here. For Europe, it will be at 9 a.m. CEST. Other than sneakers, we will most likely be seeing Off-White release these as well on the Off-White website, or I should say on their new custom domain website. We'll go over that soon, since they did drop the prior few collabs, including the most recent Jordan 2 Off-White. Now, keep in mind, I did say most likely, not definitely, since the drop here isn't actually confirmed. It's just what we should expect based off of prior releases. Now, as for a possibility of manually copying here, unfortunately, I have to be honest with you guys, since I don't want you guys to sacrifice sleep for a fruitless endeavor. The chances will be extremely slim if you're just going pure manual here. When Off-White does new drops like this, they have been doing it on a new domain, just like Shopify does, but this doesn't take away from the fact that the site is awful at handling traffic. If you do have an Off-White bot, you should definitely expect to see some success, or even if you have a bot that supports the waiting room queue and generates bypass cookies, you should actually have a pretty decent chance of copying them. For example, this is how so many Gargantua AIO users ended up copying their pairs thanks to the bypass. If they do end up dropping, it will most likely be at 9 a.m. CEST, 3 a.m. Eastern Time. Expect the site to absolutely die if they do drop, and it'll last likely an hour or so to sell out. Some tips for anyone planning to bot: it's always some random proxy region that does the best. It used to be Portugal, but recently I believe Korea and Singapore residential proxy regions have been performing the best. Make sure to generate a wide variety and experiment during the drop, since you will have a good amount of time usually. They don't always include it, but if you're going manual, be prepared for a potential SMS verification pop-up as well. They have used that in the past, and of course I will tweet out on personals for you or Keith Adam 10 whenever it does go live, so make sure you are following on there. Aside from both sneakers and Off-White now, we should also be seeing some boutiques receive these. Unfortunately, the vast majority of these are just raffles, most of which will backdoor almost all their already low stock. However, there are a few retailers that should be dropping online. For one, Soulbox may drop online in Europe if they do get pairs. This would be around 9 a.m. CEST as well if they do end up dropping. Then we will also most likely see Dover Street Market eFlash London at either 12 p.m. CEST or around 3 p.m. CEST, as well as Dover Street Market New York at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And both of these are pretty much impossible manually, but even botting it will also be extremely competitive due to the very low stock here. Lastly, Kith will most likely be dropping as well. Unless Kith has a trick up their sleeves, bots will take stock as usual on here. It used to be possible manual here, but as of recently, it's just been near impossible. Overall, your focus, of course, should be on Nike sneakers and Off-White if they do end up dropping, especially if you do have a bot that supports it. As for the boutiques, don't expect anything there. Now, with the how to cop out of the way, in terms of resale, stock is relatively low on both of these, but certainly not the lowest we've seen for an Off-White Nike collaboration, so nothing too much that stands out in regards to the stock. Unfortunately, the Blazer Low has terrible demand as a silhouette in general. Even the Sacai Blazer Low collaborations have bricked many times already. However, since this is an Off-White collaboration, they will inevitably carry relatively high demand, especially compared to other Blazer Lows that we have seen. That's not to say that these will be amazing surprising by any means. We have seen many off-whites do poorly. Take the women Nike runners, for example. Plenty of those did very poorly. Pre-sale is already quite low, and the bids aren't too impressive either for an off-white collaboration at least. But regardless, with a retail of only $140, there should still be sufficient room for profitability on these, but only with about a decent margin or so. I'm not expecting anything great on these, especially if you buy from the Off-White website, where the high shipping will of course affect your margin. Either way, I'm still going full throttle on these, but I'm just not expecting a great margin, unfortunately. Still should be some easy profit nonetheless, just not so great for an Off-White. But anyway, that will conclude it for today. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two. Subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you stay 100% updated on all these types of releases. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable, fast, residential proxies and pre-verified Nike sneakers and Adidas accounts. Also, feel free to follow Endurance's Twitter for updates on restocks or key giveaways, and the same goes for Gargantua if you want to keep up with the progress or restocks. Last but not least, make sure to follow KeithAdam10 and Personals for You. This way you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was discussing today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.